My name is Courtney Colson, a female to male to female detransitioner, and on this channel we try to figure out what the hell is wrong with me. And yes, I have been practicing twirling revolvers. It's commitment. Commitment to the cosplay. Can't actually spin those tiny little guns with gloves on, sadly, because Australia has very strict gun laws, including airsoft and toy guns and stuff. So I have these little pistols that cap gun pistols. I mean, it's not too bad, all things considered, but not quite the real deal. Why am I dressed like Revolver Ocelot? It has nothing to do with the topic of today's video. I'm just keeping up a theme. I started with Kazuhiro Miller, then I was the boss, so now I'm Revolver Ocelot. Because I'm 30 years old, and that's what I'm doing with my life. So, normally I do have a topic that I focus on, but since the incident, not the accident, the incident, because accident downplays it. This is a bit of an oopsie. No, this dude ruined my freaking life. So I have decided that I'm just going to make another update video about my life in general, recovering from a near-death experience. So hopefully this isn't just me bitching about my life and will be of some benefit to someone else. I am recovering pretty well. This is about 4 months after the incident, which was July 22nd. Haven't recovered my memories from that week, and my mother is not really helping because she's a gaslighter. I don't know if she intentionally does it, but she lies or she gets things wrong, but she insists that things were the way she remembers it and will not entertain anyone else's differing opinions. So that makes it, there have been times where I've screamed at her and go, I fucking know about, she goes on about me not wearing a helmet. I wasn't riding a bike technically at the time. I was crossing the road holding a bike. But yeah, I have just snapped at her sometimes. Or when she insists things happen the way they did, I just have to be quiet. I'm just going, okay, I'm not arguing this. I know what memories I do have. Those feel real. And I do keep, another Metal Gear reference. So I keep joking about, am I just a mental copy of someone else? Because that's what it feels like. And I mean, apparently it's not that unusual to feel this dissociation with head trauma. Nothing feels real, and you feel like you're a copy, an imposter, a clone. So my mother insisting things being a certain way when I do have memories of them being another way fucks with me so badly. And yesterday or the day before, the whole day I looked at my reflection and I didn't recognize myself. It looked like me, sure, but something was off. And my brain would start to go, I don't know if your jawline was that wide before. I don't know if your nose was that narrow. I don't know if your eyes were that small. It starts pointing out really random things. And I took a photo of myself, because I do outfit of the day. On my Instagram, I take a photo of my outfits, because that is sort of my, as having a history in costume, you know, compiling a wardrobe is an art form. And I took a photo, and I looked at it and went, that looks like me, that looks normal. Looked in the mirror, something's not right. And I can understand people who have schizophrenia, believe in gang stalking, for example. I don't know if you're aware of it. I'm already going on tangents. It's relevant. Gang stalking is people who have schizophrenia who are so convinced they're being stalked by the government or some secret organization. You're not that important, mate. You're really not. And I know that. You know, I'm not involved in some sort of conspiracy where I'm now a duplicate of a very important person as a diversion, as a distraction tactic. So I'm still reasonable. I'm still logical. I have these weird thoughts and impulses, but I can rise above them and go, you're just crazy. And maybe because in my case, I have been crazier than a bag of cats since I was born, I'm just kind of used to it at this point. I used to think I was a robot, so if I have any other new delusions, I just basically go, okay, you can think that, but don't identify it. Don't think it's real. Just let it pass through your brain. It's got to work its way out. It's just head trauma. So, well, that brings me to my other point is I feel that, 2 years after detransitioning and coming to terms with myself and really rebuilding myself and starting a new life and being so optimistic about, I've cured this. I've gotten over this gender dysphoria. I'm so much better now. I'm in a much better place. And then I get hit by a car. And I can't work anymore. I mean, hope I can go back soon, and I'll get back to that in a minute. But I'm dealing with chronic fatigue again, basically. It's head trauma related fatigue, but it's still chronic fatigue. I sleep 10, 12, 14 hours a day. I get nothing done. Occasionally when I do wake up and I feel okay, I get shit done. Like this morning, woke up at about 7:30, 8 o'clock, which is late for me, but reasonable for most people, I assume. And I just went, God, I feel like absolute shit. But no, you got to fight it. You got to push past it. I've always had to do that. Having chronic fatigue for, I guess we're getting up to 10 years now. You just get used to having to fight a lot harder to do anything. So, yeah, you just got to push past that fatigue and make your outfit and put your makeup on and film, because I think it's important that I do this. It's just for my own freaking mental health, honestly. Recording videos and talking about my problems to the entire world. It's great therapy, and it's free, technically. Technically, I get paid because there's ads and stuff, so... What a world. At least there's that, some small mercy out of all the other shit I go through in my life. But, okay. My body has been healing very well. I still need the crutch when I'm walking, when I go out and going long distances, and I need something to just support myself and lean on when I get tired. But I walk around the house without the crutch. I can, put the bins out, get the mail, whatever. It's just when I'm walking all the way to the bus station or to the shops or whatever, I couldn't. I can drive, although no one's been taking me out for driving practice lately. And I can't afford driving lessons because, well, I can't work right now. So it's sort of a catch-22. But yeah, my left leg, which is not the broken one, that handles the clutch. So, and that's the thing you got to put the most pressure on. So that's good. That makes it a lot easier. Right leg, accelerator, brakes. It's fine, but Mum took me out for a drive last week or the week before, and I found myself stalling, and I went, what am I doing? Am I just right? And no, I'm losing control. If I have to hold down the brake for a long time, it's exhausting on that leg. So I just have to rebuild strength. So that'll come with time. And I have been working out every day, which is not something I've done in years. I used to be into bodybuilding when I first transitioned. For a couple of years. I would work out every single day. Then it caused my autoimmune problems to come back, chronic fatigue, all of that. I didn't get rid of those weights for a long time, though. I carried them from house to house, and just hoping, I guess, that I would get better one day. And eventually I just went, fuck it. If I do get better, I'll just buy some more, but this is just, I have to lug this around, and it's not worth it. And I have been working out again, only for about 20 minutes. That seems to be as much as I can handle, but basic stuff, pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, that kind of stuff. But I have been using these 4-liter jugs, bottles of distilled water as my weights. So, yeah, okay, that'll do. But I am building muscle like crazy. It's surprising because I only do 20 minutes. I didn't think it was enough, but maybe it's the carnivore diet. I'm not on steroids anymore. They did put me on steroids for about a week. But so the fact that my body is improving, that's good. At least I have that. But the head is the biggest issue. And that's another thing my mother gaslights me about. She insists that I'm permanently deaf in this ear. When she went to the appointment with me to speak to the ENT, and they said, oh, it's inflammation, it's swelling, it's not anything permanent. They've tested the eardrum itself is working fine. And I know, because if I pinch my nose and blow, I can hear through that ear fine, but the rest of the time it's like this, it's muffled, it's like there's something in there, which technically there is, I suppose. It's not, I thought it was fluid at first, it probably was a bit of fluid at first, but now it's more that it's just the inflammation, like the membrane, the skin around is just touching each other. There's no sound getting through, I presume. I'm not an ENT and I'm waiting. I was supposed to see the ENT last month, and being that it's rural Perth, public health system, just overworked, understaffed, all of that. So the weeks leading up to this appointment is just dragged on, and I've needed to see them so badly because it really does hurt sometimes, and maybe they can help me with the fatigue and the vertigo and all the other issues I'm dealing with. But in the meantime, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try and see if there's any kind of brain specialist I can see, because my motor vehicle case is being handled by the insurance commission, so they handle the payments for anything I need medically, and that's great. That really, really helps. So that opens up all these avenues of, oh, maybe I could see all these kind of neurologists that I could never afford before. I was calling around to see, I think I called about 3 or 4 different specialists, and I thought, I'll scope them out, see if they're worth going to, then I'll go to my GP, get them to write the referral, because that's the only way the insurance commission will cover it, is if I have a doctor's approval, recommendation to go to these specialists. So the receptionist for the particular institute I was going to go to, she was useless. I just called up and said, hey, do you specialize in head trauma, concussions, that kind of thing? Oh, I don't know. I'll have to call the doctor and he'll get back to you. It is a brain institute. You focus on brain stuff, and you don't even know the basics of the place you work at. You don't even know what they do. So I hung up and just went, okay, that doesn't fill me with confidence, but I did at least leave my information there. And the doctor did call me back, I think it was the next day. And he's, he did sound pretty knowledgeable, and I went, okay, well, this is the only option I have. The other one was a physiotherapist. I got an appointment with them. And a month from now, I want to see someone ASAP. This is ruining my life. I want to go back to work. I want to live my life. I've been dead too long. When anyone asks me, am I suicidal? No. I've been dead way too long. I've lost so many years of my life. Why would I cut it off permanently? Why would I end my life and not have any more time? If I could do some kind of dramatic, violent act to make me alive, that would be wonderful. Some kind of Frankenstein situation, I don't know. Back on track. So this doctor says, hey, serendipity, we have a cancellation for tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I went, okay, I'll take it. I don't know if I can go at all, but I'll talk to the insurance commission tomorrow, because this was after they'd closed. So I didn't sleep all that night. I was so anxious. My sleep hasn't been good. Oh god, there's just so many things. I'll try and focus, but yeah, my sleep's been terrible. Normally, even when I had chronic fatigue, I would wake up feeling refreshed in the morning, and I'd be very active in the morning, and then by about midday, I would just crash, and then the afternoons weren't great for me. But now, I will go to bed at a normal time, 10, 11 o'clock, and I'll just be in bed until 8, 9, 10. I'll just sleep the entire morning away sometimes. I'm just not feeling... I feel as shit as I did when I went to bed. There is no period of energy that I used to have, and that's how I used to function before. I'd go to work. I'd work between 7 a.m. till midday. Perfect. Those are the hours I feel most awake. Now, not at all. I can't predict. There are some times where I'll sleep the entire day. Maybe I'll get up and, to my credit, I'm always able to cook and clean and have a shower and do those things. There hasn't been a day where I haven't been able to do that at all. I'm just stubborn that way. But I can sleep all day, and then by about 9 or 10 o'clock at night, I'm like, oh, I feel wide awake. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do things. And yeah, I'll be sewing or drawing or doing whatever until 4 or 5 a.m. That's only happened twice, thank God. I try to avoid that as much as I can, but it's so frustrating because there are times where I force myself to say, I can barely keep myself. No, I'm not going to sleep during the day, at least not in the morning. That's the worst. That's the worst. So I'm going to try and stay awake all day. I can't do anything. I'm just watching TV, watching a lot of retro replay compilations. And Jenny Nicholson, anyone who has just hours and hours of entertainment, it's perfect for me. But yeah, I'll just sit on the couch until about 6 or 7. It's like, oh, no, I feel wide awake now. And then I don't sleep until early hours of the morning. Okay, so maybe I should have slept all day then, because I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So I'm recording my sleep, those sleep apps, not naming names because it's not a brand sponsorship, but I would snore a little bit here and there. I've never been much of a snorer, and I've been doing it more than I ever have since the accident. I've only been recording myself for maybe the past couple of weeks. Then I was doing the mouth exercises that you do to stop snoring, and that has helped, but I haven't been recording for a long enough period of time to know if that's a long-term thing. But I realize what's probably causing the snoring issue is my jaw is dislocated. Yeah, that's another thing I found. So I went to the dentist, and thankfully that was covered as well, because that was expensive. I had to do x-rays and everything, and yeah, my jaw, there's this gap where it should be, touching the top of my skull. It's not, but I can talk and I can chew. But it explains why it hurts if I do that for long enough, so that's probably causing the snoring, which is probably diminishing the quality of my sleep. So, okay. When do I get my jaw pushed back in place? Well, I had to go to a different dentist who specializes in that. I don't know if it's just going to be like, military style, just dislocate a shoulder, just fucking shove it back in there. I don't know. But I got to wait another month for that. It's not just to live this way. And that could be contributing to a lot of the pain in my head as well. It'd be nice to get medical attention, I tell you. And I'm in Australia. This is public healthcare, socialized medicine. I've got the insurance commission to back me up for any private stuff. And that gets me back to my point. So, call them in the morning and say, I've got this appointment with this neurological institute. But the first session, the first appointment, is $1,200. It's like $100 a minute. I mean, it's this 2-hour appointment that they do every single, MRI, CT, what have you. So it sounds pretty good and extensive and all that. So can you cover that payment? And they said, well, we can't until you have a doctor's referral. Yeah, I realized. And they said, oh, but otherwise you could pay for it and then we'll pay you back. I don't even have $1,200. Oh my God. That's the other thing. So thankfully I'm still on the disability pension. But Christmas is coming up. Then I had to pay for the rego for Ivy. Then the rent has increased in this house. And then there's all the other medical things. I just have to spend so much more money than I normally would. So I'm just living from paycheck to paycheck, as they say. Would be nice to go back to work. And so I went, okay, you need a doctor's referral. I'll try to make that happen. So I call my GP, and this guy's been pretty good. I have no issues with him. And I say, okay, this is a really unusual situation, but is he able to write me a referral? Just send me across. I'll send one to the insurance commission. We don't have to make an appointment or anything. Is that possible? I know it's really unorthodox, but can you maybe make this happen, please? I'm desperate. And I made all that clear. And she went, oh, I'm not sure. I'll have. He's very busy today. I'll ask. So this is first thing in the morning. I wait. Hours and hours pass. After lunch, or my one meal a day. Is it lunch if you only eat once a day? I don't know. But technically, every meal is breakfast if it's only one. So after breakfast, lunch, whatever you want to call it, I call them up. So that's about midday, and my appointment's at 3:00. So I call the GP back and say, "Hey, what's happening?" And this woman, it was like Jekyll and Hyde. She was fine before. She seemed nice and accommodating, and then she just went off at me, saying, "He's very busy. You can't just demand these things. And also, do you expect us to work for free? You haven't paid for your last appointment." It's a bulk billing clinic. I've never paid for any appointment. Well, we went and charged the insurance commission instead of Medicare. Because I asked, well, did Medicare not pay for it? No, we went through the insurance commission. And by the way, you gave us the wrong number, which gave us the runaround. Well, I gave the GP the insurance commission letter with all the information on it. If he wrote it down wrong on his piece of paper, that's on him, not me. Why are you attacking me? But she's just screaming over the top. I'm trying to calmly explain, hey, look, look, we can resolve that. I'm sorry that they're taking so long to give you the money. Which this is all, she's treating this like a freaking business. You're a doctor's surgery. This is not a shop. I'm not stealing anything from you. What the hell? I just, when she started laughing at me, that's when I just went, enough. I've been fucked with one too many times in the past year or two. I'm not taking this lying down. So I said, oi, that's out of line. That's really unprofessional. Apparently I said fucking. I say fucking when I say fucking, what's his name? He was in the fucking, the movie. That's how I talk. I'm Australian. I'm sorry. And this woman was not Australian, so I guess she's not used to that. But I just said, that's really fucking unprofessional, probably. I didn't say fuck you. I didn't call her a cunt. I didn't, and I wanted to. And she just screamed. I could not understand what she was saying. It was just, the mic on the phone was peaking. I don't want to see you here again. Okay. She must have had right up in her face. I don't. And I call back and go, hey, sorry, look, can we just... it was really, really times of the end, and she just would not. She just screamed over the top of me, and I was just so shaken. I was nearly in tears. I just went, when I need something so simple, just a doctor's referral, when time is of the essence, when this is my one hope, some cunt's got to fuck me up the ass again. The universe wants to fuck me up the ass repeatedly. So, honestly, I wasn't as upset as I might have been a year ago. Because at that point, I was like, it just gets worse. It all gets worse. Yeah. So anyway, I call the insurance commission. And I tell them the situation. They're shocked. And they go, oh, I mean, we wish we could do more. There's really nothing. We can't loan you that money in advance. Like, yeah, I know. So I call the neuroscientist, the neurologist, whatever. Because it's a brain institute, so they do all sorts of things with the brain. Anyway, I call them up, and I just go, yeah, they're going to charge me, aren't they? They're going to freaking charge me for cancellation. And I said, oh, look, I can't make this appointment. I'm really sorry. Okay, that's fine. Did you want to reschedule? No, I don't really know when I can get a referral. So, that's fine. Okay. And then that was it. Oh. Okay. Ha! I didn't get fucked for once. Okay. Yeah, they said, we need 48 hours notice for cancellation. Otherwise, it's $55. well, you didn't give me the appointment with 48 hours to give notice, so surely I'm exempt. Thankfully, for once, I was spared. So, okay, what's the next step? How do I get the help I need? So I go back to my other GP. I'm not going back to that GP, and I tried to report them. Nothing's been done so far. Surprise, surprise. But my mum looked into reviews for this GP, and they're all saying, so this is the doctor's wife. So she's not actually a professional receptionist. She just does this job sometimes, and yeah, she's been that horrible to so many people, and they're very money oriented. And it's a shame because he was pretty good. I didn't have any, and it's so hard to find a good GP, and he is just around the corner from me. So going back to the women's health clinic, and she's great. I really like her, and I am more comfortable seeing female doctors. But it's hard to get an appointment. So again, I'm waiting another couple of weeks so I can see her, so that she can recommend a neurologist or maybe refer me to the one I was trying to get into. So at least we can try and work on that, because that's my one issue now. The fatigue and the issues with my brain, they're ruining my life. Physically, there's really nothing out. There's no real... I mean, I've been twirling those guns, so coordination and stuff is fine. Walking is fine. I can work out, at least for 20 minutes. I don't know if that means I'm more active now or less active, because I used to cycle to and from work, but I wasn't doing any bodybuilding. Now I'm back to it. So, I don't know, 50-50. But I know it's so important. I know so many people with chronic fatigue syndrome, and they just waste away because they're just so exhausted, and they, not victim blaming, but they don't try to push past it. They just sleep, and there's muscle atrophy and all of that. So I knew that going into chronic fatigue. I looked at the rest of the community and what they'd been through, and went, okay, look, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to use every weapon in my arsenal. So that's why, yeah, I'm active every day, even though I'm exhausted. And yeah, this whole idea of pacing, they say with chronic fatigue, just try to do things slowly and gently. No. You do it all the way, you don't do it at all. So that's my theory of... So yeah, you can crash. You might need to recover for the next day or the rest of the week. Who knows? It's unpredictable. But as long as I'm doing some kind of exercise, that makes a huge difference, and especially for mental health. So I've been depressed lately. I've been miserable, and I do feel like I'm losing my mind. But when you look after the body, you're looking after your mind. I think society has this wrong idea that the brain and the body are two separate things. They're not. And I know that's so intrinsically now, having gone through all this other stuff. But if I look after the body, the mind feels good. So yeah, if I feel like shit, I go out, I socialize. Even if I'm just wandering around the shops with no intention to actually get anything. I don't need anything, but I'm just wandering around, talking to people, going out with friends when I can, or just talking to friends online, and exercising, and sitting out in the sun and getting fresh air. It's really, that's all it is. But talking is important too. That's why I'm making videos like this, where I can just work through all the shit I've been through lately. Because I think when you put it in front of an audience, you can kind of put it in a more rational perspective. Like when I didn't recognize my own face, I'm going, okay, hear what you're saying right now. And when I'm editing it, hear what you're saying back then. Sounds fucking insane. So yeah, I do have a better perspective where I can just go, okay, that's reality, that's fantasy, that's delusion. So, hey, it works for me. And speaking of therapy, that's another thing I've had to wait for. And this is the therapist I saw last year or whatever. She's okay. and I think I'm supposed to see him next week. No, next week I see the ENT, finally. And hopefully they can help me with all my issues. But, yeah, the therapist, I don't know, what am I even going to say to her? And can anyone help me? I'm getting to that point now where I feel like the only person who can save me is myself. It's always been the way. When it came to chronic fatigue, my gender dysphoria, my delusions, no one knew what to do. No one could get through to me. It was just me. It's always been me. Fighting every single day just for some kind of normalcy. I mean, I will still try to see the specialists and try to get help and all of that. I just kind of feel everyone disappoints me. Sooner or later. No one's ever enough. No one's what I need. I don't know how to word it any other way. It's just... Actually, I have been working on my memoir. I have been writing a bit lately and noticing just how night and day it is. You know, I was more upbeat and optimistic and hopeful for the future, and when I write now, it's so bitter and angry. But looking back on my childhood and just never finding a role model that got through to me, that was sufficient, that really spoke to me in a way that I needed. I had to figure all my stuff out by myself. And looking back, I kind of outgrew my parents really early. I thought too much, and I had very abstract thoughts that my parents didn't know how to deal with. And I think that happens a lot with just intelligent kids or neurodiverse kids or just slightly outside of the box kids. My parents are very normal. Very, very normal. And a friend of mine talks about, it's a term used in shamanism, non-ordinary reality. I think there are some people who we naturally gravitate to these very abstract ways of thinking, whether it's creative types. Through art and storytelling, we exist in these fantasy realms and dreams. And I've been dreaming every single night. Lord Morpheus, he should start paying the rent. He's here all the time. But just an insane amount of it's not, and it is maladaptive daydreaming as well. I used to have maladaptive daydreaming that went away because I believe my issue before was some kind of encephalitis, with the chronic fatigue and all that. Look, if you're new to this channel, don't start here. You got to go back to the beginning. You got to go all the way through. But I don't know. Maybe I could just recap. Yep, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got here. We got to go back to the beginning. When I had my worst chronic fatigue, about 3 or 4 years ago, I was dreaming compulsively. I mean, I slept all the time, so you have to live somewhere. And for me, I lived in dreams, which were all based on Alien Covenant, I guess. I'm not very original. And nowadays, I have all these dreams. A lot of it revolves around Volver Ocelot? Oh, that would have been a great segue. Well, sometimes Ocelot is in my dreams. But yeah, it's all Metal Gear stuff. But it's like real memories and real things, but blended in with Metal Gear, and it's the most surreal shit. We won't go into that. I don't know if anyone cares, but yeah. I've lived another life in my dreams. Multiple lives, really. And honestly, it does help. It does. And it's not something my parents could have ever understood. And yeah, not having a role model in real life, I think that's where I turn to fiction. Because fiction shows you these bright, unique, amazing pinnacles of humanity. Even when they're flawed, they're magnificently flawed, they're compelling. Well, lately I've had an obsession with Kazuhiro Miller, who I dressed as in one of my previous videos, but when you don't have someone in real life who you can talk to about your pain, who can really understand, you gravitate towards a character who has suffered so horrendously. So you kind of feel like, oh yeah, that dude gets me. And yeah, it's I don't even know how to describe it. It's just sort of, that character is motivating, cathartic. He's not my imaginary friend. I don't think he's real or anything. I'm not that crazy yet. But yeah, that's kind of been this commonality throughout my life, is turning to this not ordinary reality, burying myself in fantasy and thought, because reality just doesn't give me enough. And I'm thinking that way about my desire to start a family. I've talked about that so much in previous videos, where I was just so baby crazy and was so intent on having a child. And after everything I've been through, I just kind of go, nah, fuck it. I'm better off alone. I'm better alone. I'm happy alone. I don't need anyone else. And everyone's just going to disappoint me eventually. That's all I've ever learned, is no one's ever going to be enough, so why bother? Those are the thoughts I'm having right now. Do I believe it? I don't know. But yeah, I was at one point even thinking of having a child by myself, but that would have been very difficult. I mean, imagine if I had, well, especially a newborn now, while recovering from my injuries and not being able to work. Oh my God. Inconceivable. But yeah, I tried dating for a while, and that was disappointing, and they're all morons. Why am I wasting my time? I could be working on writing, doing something worthwhile, making art, things that will be a part of my legacy. And legacy is a thing I come back. That's the sort of the word of the year, or at least half a year since the incident. What do I leave behind? What am I doing that's of actual value? And I'm kind of feeling that I don't think I'm destined for an ordinary life. No white picket fence here. I can't make myself be heterosexual. And then a lot of lesbians don't want kids, so there is that. And then I can't have a kid by myself, so fuck it. There are other people doing that. There are millions of people hooking up, having kids. Good on ya. Have fun with that. And hopefully my brothers will give me nieces and nephews eventually. But in terms of my legacy, I'm just thinking, I nearly died. I could have left this planet, left this reality, however you want to slice it, and there would have been very little behind. There's my YouTube videos, there's my cosplay photos, and I'm very proud of that, but I just go, but I've been through so much. I've been through so much suffering, and I want to do something with that. I want to do more with the D-trans community, and I want to prevent kids from being needlessly mutilated. I want to be there for the weirdo kids like myself who had no role models, who looked around and thought, guess I'm not like other girls, because I don't have those thoughts and feelings. It turns out other girls don't have those thoughts and feelings. It's a lie. It is made up by the patriarchy, capitalism, one of those. Take your pick. Or a combination of those. But yeah, the idea of what a woman is, generally it's just based on stereotypes. And I'm here to tell the weirdo girls out there, be weird. Embrace that. The one role model, actually, Daria and Jane. Growing up, I love that show, and I didn't really understand it, but there was something about the way Jane and Daria talked that just felt so real and relatable. So again, fiction can be such an important thing, but I'm not a fictional character. I'm going to stand here as a real woman and tell you all the stuff that we are teaching girls is so fucked. It's wrong. So yeah, again, I'm getting passionate about it. My legacy. I want to actually make a difference that's meaningful. And yeah, okay, having a family would be nice, and yeah, maybe that would make me happy, or at least. Am I lonely? I don't even know, because I'm pretty happy by myself. But it would be nice to do things with other people and go or work on my projects or go out and do, and I have a lot of friends. But yeah, every once in a while you kind of feel like, well, it would be nice if I had a girlfriend that I could share this with. Um, but yeah, I kind of feel at this point it's not even worth thinking about. I'm I'm a mess. I'm in a really bad place right now, so I shouldn't be thinking about any sort of long-term commitments or getting involved with anyone. But I kind of feel if that's never going to change, I'm just wasting my time, and I'm better off alone. And I should work on more important things, I guess. Not to get too TMI, but it's my channel, so it's what I do here. But talking about sexuality and sex and where's all that now? I still have a high libido. Ever since the incident, that has not changed. But now I have nowhere to direct it because I have this internalized homophobia, and I kind of like, could I be straight? Can I make myself straight? And also, girls are really hot though. But oh yeah, it's just I get too in my own head, so I mostly can't masturbate by myself. Still a mechanophile, so yeah, I have to have sex with Ivy. It's the only way I can come. Just touching metal, it's good, it completes me. That, and also leather gloves seems to be a fetish I have. Metal and leather. It's when you only have a sex drive kick in your late 20s, new discoveries all the time, but yeah, feels nice. I'm into it. I actually bought 2 pairs of leather gloves, so yeah, I see I have a fetish developing here. Nice. Getting back on track. So this morning, woke up, was horny as hell, and went, okay, if I'm at that point in my cycle where I'm just unbearably horny anyway, it doesn't matter what I'm thinking about, I am gonna come anyway. Gave it a go, and without Ivy, and it was pretty good, actually. And it didn't take too long. So physically, everything's working fine. Mentally, got a lot of issues. You know what I've been fantasizing about lately? I don't think about women. I don't think about men. Not really. Well, cyborg androgynous men. Is Raiden male or female? Kind of looks like a butch lesbian to me. It's just, and also Genos in One Punch Man. I don't know. That does it for me. Because I think you have the sort of androgynous feminine, to me, features. And then you've got this body that is mechanical, it's metal, it's beautiful, smooth, perfection. No genitals, but I mean, you can fantasize about whatever add-ons you want down there. I don't need a degree in psychology to see the cause and effect here. It's just, I have very conflicting feelings about human beings. Machines are beautiful and perfect. They feel good. So combine those two things. That's obviously what my brain's doing, and it works for me. And well, anime boys have been the weakness of many people over the years. The other thing is periods. They're happening normally every 28 days or so. So actually, since the incident, I've had fairly normal periods. The first few wiped me out, but the last one, barely noticed it. Because, in the first few months I thought, oh, Jesus. So I got head trauma, so I got chronic fatigue again. And now my periods really, really wiped me out. I mean, there were periods where I just slept for 3-4 days, basically. I'd get up, eat, bathe myself, go back to bed. I just wouldn't leave my bed for, half a week. And I can't do this. How the fuck am I meant to live like this? And thankfully, that doesn't seem to be the case. At least the last time. Will the next time be bad? I don't know. during that last period, I was very active. And I have this system I try to do every day. I don't get to do it often, but I'm going to try and sew for a couple of hours. I'm going to try to draw for a couple of hours. I'm going to try to write for a couple of hours. And if I can do those, that equates to about a 6-hour shift I would do at work. Trying to, train myself up to have that stamina again, or just seeing how I do with roughly that window of time. I'm not up to going back to work. Maybe I could do random days here and there, but you kind of can't just show up whenever you feel like it. I would never take birth control ever again. I'm very critical of any exogenous hormones. I don't know if there's any, even when it comes to post-menopause and women take estrogen there, I'm critical of that because I'm wondering, well, isn't menopause natural? Shouldn't we just let that happen? And yeah, there can be some complications that are related to it. But, hey, I'm not at that phase of my life yet, so I haven't dug into it too deeply. But I just don't think we should be messing around with our hormones unless there's a real good reason. So, no birth control for me. And as someone who is single and probably a lesbian, I'm pretty sure I am, that would be unnecessary. And my body evolved over millions of years to have a cycle. Maybe we should just let it happen. And I wouldn't go for any sort of surgical intervention. Not that they would. Well, see, if I identified as a man, you can get a hysterectomy, no worries. But if I identify as a woman, suddenly, hold up. Are you sure? Hopefully my next video will be about a topic and not just me going on about my life, my so-called life. So, hey, pretty good. And see you, Space Cowboy.